The sun rose over Kigali on April 6, 1994, casting a warm glow on the bustling streets of Rwanda's capital. However, for many, this warmth was a superficial facade hiding deeper, darker tensions. As the day progressed, a plane carrying the Rwandan president, Juvenal Habyarimana, was shot down, triggering a series of events that would plunge the nation into chaos. Hakizimana, a 24-year-old Tutsi man, had always considered Rwanda his home. His family had lived in the hills near Butare for generations, cherishing their land and community. But the rift between the Hutu and Tutsi, historically manipulated by colonial powers, had become a chasm that threatened to engulf them all. In the days following the assassination, Hutu extremists began to mobilize. Mobs formed, armed with machetes and fueled by propaganda that painted Tutsis as the enemy. Hakizimana had heard whispered rumors of violence, but the reality crashed down when he witnessed a group of armed men marching towards his neighborhood, shouting slogans demanding death to the Tutsis. The first wave of the massacre swept through the homes of Tutsis, and Hakizimana's family was not spared. He watched in horror as his father, a respected teacher, was dragged from their home, accused of being a traitor. Hakizimana's mother urged him to flee, knowing that staying would mean certain death. With a heavy heart, he left, running towards the forest that bordered their village. In those harrowing days, Hakizimana joined a group of Tutsi refugees escaping the relentless violence. They traveled mostly at night, using the terrain to hide from patrols. Despite their collective fear, there were glimmers of humanity. Many Hutus risked their lives to shelter Tutsis, their neighbors, and friends, providing food and safety in secret. Meanwhile, the international community remained alarmingly passive. UN peacekeepers were in the country but were limited in their ability to intervene without a stronger mandate. The world watched as the genocide unfolded, with more than 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus slaughtered in just 100 days. The cries for help went largely unheard. Among the refugees, Hakizimana found hope in Amina, a young nurse from Kigali. They forged a deep bond as they shared stories of their lives before the violence. Amina had lost her family in the early days of the genocide but remained resilient, determined to help those around her. Together, they became a source of strength for other survivors, organizing makeshift camps in the dense forest. As the world finally began to react, nations slowly mobilized to provide aid, and the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, a Tutsi-led rebel group, gained momentum in their fight against the genocide. By July, they entered Kigali, and the tide began to turn. Hakizimana and Amina finally emerged from the forest, stepping into a city that was traumatized but alive with the hope of liberation. The RPF's victory marked the end of the genocide, but it was just the beginning of healing for a nation scarred by unspeakable atrocities. In the years that followed, Hakizimana and Amina became advocates for peace and reconciliation, sharing their experiences to educate others about the dangers of hatred and division. They participated in Gakaka courts, traditional community courts established to address the crimes committed during the genocide, promoting accountability and healing. Though the wounds of the past would take generations to mend, Hakizimana and Amina's story became part of Rwanda's narrative of resilience. Together, they worked towards a future where no one would ever again suffer as they had, where unity could triumph over division, and remembrance could pave the way for a hopeful tomorrow.